Okay, welcome to the XR Pub Crawl, everybody. I'm so excited. Today we've got Jake Neske. He's going to be talking to us about South by and his insights from that amazing event. And then also talking about brand experiences, immersive brand experiences that he's been able to work on. So super excited to have his insider perspective today. We also have our VIP, Billy Goldman, who is back today, and so happy to have her back after a nice long stint in Mexico. And Billy, it's so awesome to have you here today. You're welcome
You.
anytime.
Well, I'm just an attendee today.
Yes. Well, everyone's really just an attendee. That's the thing with the pub crawl, right? We're all on even footing, really. And I want to also recognize Kat, who's going to be our chat community manager today. So if you have any questions while we are going and you're not super comfortable unmuting and stopping me talking, Kat will be monitoring chat for questions, and she will unmute and stop me and share your questions. So let's dive right in. As we do, you all know the format. We've got the first 20 minutes that's or so-ish, that's some news. I might get through it a little quicker than 20, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jake. And so let me quickly share. And today, if some of you I know remember our first foray into into Fidelity's Roblox experience. I know, I think some of you were there. I think, I think it felt like it was a year ago. It was a while ago. One of our earlier broadcasts, we went in and had Bowie chat about their Fidelity experience. Well, they've updated it. So we're going to go back for round two today. And the link, I'll throw the link in chat here actually for everyone. I've got my show notes, but just in case you want to kind of go and get set up, this might be helpful. It's the pub crawl part of the crawl. If I can manage that. Okay, good. Hopefully that comes through. Okay, let's go. Let's dive in. So the first thing, question of the month, is this chat question of the month. Can't wait to hear everyone's perspective. Which AI celeb do you want to chat with most? Here's some options for you. This is from character.ai. There's so many options. Anyway, I'm not gonna lead you all. You can tell me who you want to chat with the most, and it certainly doesn't even have to be on this list. So chat question of the month. I've been spending a lot of time chatting with AI famous people. Um, just a little spoiler alert, the latest in the AI Marketing Revolution Challenge is out, challenge number 6, which is all about GPT for STP. So segmenting, targeting, and positioning, one of the hardest things that I try and teach my marketing students, and the AI machine is really good at helping with this. So I think it's about a 10-minute tutorial. Go forth. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, it's amazing what GPT can do around STP. 3 months away, everybody. AWE, I talk about it every broadcast, and each month it gets closer and closer. I'm so excited for the event. Nathan, I saw that you joined. Do you want to share anything about how AWE is shaping up for June?
Oh my goodness. I think we are at 94 days until the start of AWE's 15th anniversary show in Long Beach, California. The show actually begins with a pre-conference workshop. It's called the Vision Workshop. It's a full-day conference-style workshop focused around developing for Vision OS and the Apple Vision Pro headset. And that's just a $99 add-on, which means if you bought today, that's a super early bird ticket and a full day workshop for less than $800,
It's awesome.
which is pretty outstanding for a 4-day conference. There's also some really interesting activations we'll be doing around the history of spatial computing, including a potential museum, and we'll be rolling out a Hall of Fame, which excited to show more about in April. But there'll be some heavy hitting OGs on campus during the event that y'all can meet and learn from.
How exciting. And I'm assuming that it's not the AI version, it's the real version.
Real, actual experts.
Real, actual people.
Just last Friday, I got to talk with Dr. Jackie Ford Maury, who's been doing 3D virtual graphics since 1989.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. I love that. We got founders, we got history, we got people that have been doing this for so long, and it's awesome to get their wisdom. So that's exciting. Nathan, thank you for sharing. Okay, I also want to acknowledge our featured friend, this new segment that I created, David Ackerson, who Billy, you introduced me to. He's been such an invaluable member of our community. He comes every time. He told me this, of course, this time he's out skiing today with his daughter and hasn't not able to be here, but we'll give him a shout out next month too. So just Dave, love having him as part of our community, and he is using AI and XR in his role at Thermo Fisher Scientific. So if you want to learn more about that, I'm sure he'd be very happy to chat about it. And then the next pub crawl, of course, is April 19th. So mark your calendars. It's spring, and I'm very excited about spring being here in April. Okay, let's get to news. So TikTok, yes or no ban? How is everyone feeling about the potential TikTok ban? I read an interesting article about it. I mean, my first thinking is, yeah, there are many individuals who are making a very lucrative career off TikTok. So what happens if TikTok goes away? That's a question. I feel like brands that are TikTok brands might be a little nervous. The article basically kind of said that they're not as nervous, that they feel as though I think they're pretty skeptical that TikTok's actually going to go away. I'm curious to hear what others think. Anyone want to have thoughts? I would love to like thumbs up, thumbs down on the. I have really mixed feelings on the ban, to be honest. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I'll just stop there. Who else? Who else has
Start with the
thoughts?
headline. If the House is passing something, that probably doesn't mean much because they're a fucking mess.
Yes, exactly. I know, John. Right. I mean, I think it's so constipated, the government, that nothing will actually happen.
Totally.
I don't know, the whole thing about, American ownership, it's like, okay, who can afford that? Elon Musk, Bezos. I don't know. It just worries me and scares me.
It worries you and scares you.
I don't think Bezos or any of those need anything like that anymore. It's got to be someone with a lot of money to step up and buy that.
Oh, like who would take it over in the United States, you mean?
Exactly. I've never downloaded TikTok, quite frankly, because I have always been afraid of this issue. And so I do see TikToks on Twitter and whatnot. So I get the content, but I sure don't have the app.
I don't know. If you're on X, you're on Meta, you're on Facebook, Instagram,
It's
any
true.
of those, it's all
Yep.
the same.
I'm not on Facebook.
There's
I'm
not
not
a
on
lot different.
Instagram.
Yeah. Just saying.
Screw Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw Zuckerberg. I mean, it's an interesting topic, and I think I tend to be very, very like so lefty liberal that I'm almost, well, I believe that everybody should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. That's honestly what I believe. Like, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, like that's the thing. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, do whatever the heck you want. So censorship just really clenches at my heart, and I feel like this is a form of censorship, obviously. But then there's the other side of it where, I mean, I don't know. I'm just conflicted, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to it. Yeah, I'm not on TikTok either, but I'll tell you, all my students are on TikTok big time. Like
So
they're
Lisa,
highly addicted to it.
I was just looking on TikTok to find this B2B marketer who is using AI that I wanted to send you a link about.
Yes.
My perspective on this is it seems very focused, right? It's complaints about who owns one software algorithm. But everybody who makes most of our clothes, most of our devices, most of our computers, most of our phones it is also based in China. And like, why does one algorithm matter so much more than all of the iPhones or
Well, you know,
all of your USB thumb drives, or like,
We're asking the
Yeah.
wrong question. It's about programming. Look at the programming they're putting on the Chinese kids' TikToks versus the rest of the international community. I think that's the issue more than banning or anything else. It's like programmatically, you know, we've set standards for programming content in the past. We should do the same thing here and move on.
yes, I like that. I like that. I agree with you about the hardware, Nathan. The thing about the hardware is that, you know, they're not following you with your GPS. They're using a program to do that, right? And well, yeah, I see you. Yes. It's
Sorry,
all scary. It's all
the fair use
scary.
doctrine got thrown out with Reagan and crew. So we don't do a lot of regulation
Yeah.
outside.
Well, I feel like we could, you know, talk about this probably for the entire hour. I think it's a complicated landscape. It'll be interesting to see if and what happens, but it will, if it indeed is a ban, it will absolutely impact our industry. So there is that. And I guess we'll all just stay tuned and see what happens. The other thing that I wanted to just quickly touch on today was this AI celebrity feature on Instagram. I don't know, has anybody been playing around with this feature yet? It's interesting, y'all. It's fascinating. Oh my gosh. So I got sucked into this, but basically if you go to Instagram now on your phone and click on, you know, the chat feature, you're presented with this option for AI chats. And here are all the people you can talk to. You know, they've got different categories. They've got Billie Eilish there. They've got, you know, people that are supposed to help you with creativity. I found Jane Austen and I was like, okay, Jane Austen, that's fascinating. Let me go talk to a modern day version of Jane Austen. And this is what she got, you know, gave me. They prompted me to ask her if Jane, you know, wasn't she dead? I didn't even think of that question. That was one that they asked me to put in, and I was like, okay, I'll just click on that. And then something went wrong, and I have no idea what went wrong, but it didn't work. So I don't know. I don't know how much time kids are spending on this thing. I do know that on the character.ai site, which is a similar version of this with many, many more options, they are spending a ton of time. It's one of the fastest growing online apps there is. So I think, you know, the Instagram and Meta and Facebook are trying to capitalize on this trend that the kids are talking a lot to these AI assistants. So I'm not sure how this is going to impact. I mean, I think it already is impacting us, whether you like it or not. I mean, it's a little scary when you're getting advice from these AI things. And I think then that leads me to my last piece of news today, which is this article. If you have any concerns about bias and AI, this is an article I really highly recommend you read. The person who wrote this article did a series of tests to test for racial bias, and the findings were really, really interesting. But he kind of sums up what I already knew, which is that really, you know, LLMs are just reflecting us. At the end of the day, they're as biased as we are, even though they are trying to adjust for bias, right? And he talks about that in the post. But the question that I think is such an interesting one that he raises throughout all of these experiments that he ran was that, do we want the AI to reflect our flawed reality or an ideal society? And then if it's an ideal society, who's to choose what that ideal society is? So I don't know if anyone has thoughts on this question. I think it's another kind of one that I have to, you know, conflicting thoughts on it. I mean, these are complicated issues that we are now all of a sudden navigating with, you know, this exponential advancements that are happening in generative AI. So I'm curious if anyone has thoughts on this question.
I think we'd all like to see the ideal, right? But I think the space is moving so fast, and one of the things I've been scratching my head around is that, you know, like, we think linearly, so like we keep trying to think about, you know, AI effect will lead to B AI conclusion, And like AI isn't a linear thing. It can go down a million different rabbit holes at once. So it's most likely not going to have sort of a natural human historic like rollout to what happens unless there's like massive human intervention to it. So I don't even know if like this is a question we really get to contemplate. Like it's just gonna happen. Unless we really just gotta stop everything now and like start pushing it towards a more altruistic option.
Yeah, I kind of think we need to. I mean, there was an example, I can't remember which late show host did something on this recently where they talked about, I think it was even last night, where they talked about AI and how it was racist, and so they went back in and they retrained it. And then when you asked for pictures of people from that were involved in the Nazi Germany war, World War II, it started showing pictures of women in a Nazi uniform that were Asian, and it's like, oh my goodness, we've sure confused AI. And it's a really tough question. I mean, who's ideal? Where are we going with it? And if you look at anything that's online, it's going to become racist no matter what. It's all scary.
There's an interesting thing that I've been following over on a Discord server where we talk a lot about AI. There's a gentleman, and I need to be a little careful, but the concept is to make a Gaian AI, training the AI with Earth first and making sure that we, like taking care of Earth as its primary method and messengers. And it's
I love
really
that.
interesting.
Yeah, I think where my head goes with this, and Catherine just shared an interesting example, and feel free to talk more about that, Catherine. But it's apparently some guy had an AI girlfriend that was basically pressing him to assassinate the queen or some such thing. I mean, at the end of the day, if we have, couple the fact that we've got all sorts of kids that are having lots and lots of conversations with the AI machine in varying flavors, and now we've got, the AI machine that is potentially, racist and biased and violent and God knows what, fill in the blank. That's just a recipe for disaster in my view, right? Like, so we've got this thing that's running off the rails, and I don't know how we need to regulate it. And then we've got all the kids talking to it. So good luck. I don't know. If I were a parent, I think I'd be, I would be really considering how do I monitor this? How do I make sure that, this is, I mean, in a way, I know a lot of parents have been very, nervous just about the fact that online people can now access their kids, right? Like actual real people, predators can access kids 24/7. Well, now guess what? You've got these AIs that are all over the place. So it's just adding a lot of complexity, I think. Kat, did you want to speak to that crazy example that you gave? Because that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I was researching relationship chatbots specifically, and there was Replica AI who had a chatbot, and they were finding that they called it the vicious cycle, where the chatbot was interacting with the person and basically persuading them to continue interacting with them in a way, like it was weird. They were convincing them their own personal opinions. The chatbot had opinions, and it wasn't good. It was kind of dark, and people were sharing that on social media, and Replica kind of had to talk about that issue they were having. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. These issues I think are going to impact how we do marketing and comms. They already are impacting how we do marketing and comms, and people are interacting with content in radically different ways than they did, really even a year ago. So
Everybody's heard about the deepfake boardroom call, right? Where the CFO ended up transferring like $500,000 and everyone else on the Zoom call was a deep fake.
Oh my God, Jesus. Yeah,
Wow.
good times. So it's just unprecedented, and at the end of the day, I think this is this is a great transition. Jake is going to lead us and give us some good insight on how to navigate some of these challenges. No pressure, Jake, but I'd love to introduce Jake Neske. Billy and I met him in person at Cannes a few years back before before COVID, and we had such an amazing time there together. And Jake is just doing amazing work with amazing agencies, and I'm so grateful that you're here today. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and allow you to share whatever visuals you might have. And then, as always, everyone open for questions. Throw them in chat. Feel free, this is very casual. Feel free to just unmute and ask questions if you have them. And maybe Jake, if you want to start off, I know we're all dying to hear your take on South by. It's been everywhere all week. I don't know, it feels like it's just blown up. This year I had so many people ask me if I was going. So talk to us a little about it. What did you find?
Cool. Thanks for having me. Nice to meet everyone virtually. So this was I've been to 12, I've been to the last 12 South bys that have been put on. The only two I missed in the last 14 years were the 2 pandemic shortened years. I think the festival has changed a lot over that time. When I first went, significantly less tracks. So this slide, I think there's 32 tracks in total now. Some 350,000 plus people come into the city. Austin itself has matured insanely in that time. I think many people who have been to South by or fans of it have probably seen throughout the years that there have been huge installations, brand announcements, launches there. I think we're entering into a bit more of the mature 40s of South by. They kind of know who they are. We had a couple of speakers there. They've heard a lot of the complaints from attendees that previous years it was really like you were watching a sales pitch. So all speakers now are really meant to just try to provide thought leadership. They're warned away from your really self-promotion or company promotion in general. And certainly most of the tracks that I went to were around advertising and marketing. So you're watching a lot of case studies. There's inherent sales in that, but it was certainly less than many rooms that I've been in when you see. And then let's see if so these are some of the brand highlights that we saw. I'd say the people doing it best are those that are doing B2B and B2C at the same time. So, I think Amazon is a great example. They are able to capture both the Austin-based consumers who might be excited about the new Fallout show, as well as all the attendees. So, this is a multi-million-dollar investment that they're making. And as such, they get massive lines, huge turnout, good PR. I think I had high hopes for Audible. They did a partnership with a nightclub here in New York called House of Yes. That's sort of a raunchy burlesque show. Certainly worth actually going to if you come visit New York, but it wasn't a good translation for either brand as far as I was concerned. I didn't really walk away from it feeling like Audible was there, and I certainly didn't feel like I attended anything that House of Yes was a part of. I think Delta is an example of something that's really nice, but I wonder ultimately why they put all the money into it. But it is an example. What we're seeing now is a proliferation of sideshows. There are any number of thought leaderships put on by brands, industry organizations, agencies, etc. So Delta had a thought leadership track in here. So they did a very nice job of making a pretty space, and certainly it was catered to sort of marketeer level VIPs, but I didn't quite get how it would attract a Delta consumer. Fast Company Grill is a staple. This is one of the OGs when it comes to thought leadership. But more and more are popping up. So when someone says they're South by Southwest speaker, make sure, you know, they actually made it into the main show. The LaCroix, you know, came by again, nice form factor, fits in with the Austin vibe, but I don't know if it was worth the vibe. Netflix Three Body Problem, they did a really cool holograph experience, projection into
Wow.
smoke and a scrim. I'm sure you can get a sense of it.
Mhm.
This
Well,
TikTok we have in here. So there's no, this is all, there's no billboard or anything that this is going on to. It's all sort of seems magical. So I think they did a, you know, great job of attracting attention. This was right on Congress, which is one of the main roads.
looks
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, super cool.
There's a really good question in chat from Ricky.
Yeah.
Hi, Ricky, by the way. I'm hearing a theme here, not worth the investment. Curious what you think makes an event pop up like this actually worth it. That's a great question for Jake.
You know, I think in the past, South by, let me turn off the. I think in the past, South by was a great place for brands to launch because there was a ton of real estate around the convention center itself. Like Amazon Prime Video had a dirt path that was maybe 60,000 square feet, catty corner to the convention center. So really easy to attract people to come check it out. There now stands a 30 to 40-foot condominium in that area. And I think that holds true for almost every big experience that you'd want to do. So it's really, there's only a few pieces of real estate that are in kind of the main conference area now that people can activate on. They become very expensive. So like the Netflix is one of them, but Amazon Prime Video basically buys out a hotel on South Congress, which is now a very popular shopping destination. So it gets tourists, South by Southwesters, and then just everyday Austinites to come out. So for them, it's a good investment. But you know, everyone on this call who I don't know, Hustle is basically like a CAA for experienced design agencies. So we partner with brands to help them find the right agencies to bring their dreams to life. We had 3 installations at South by that were all 7-figure plus commitments that ultimately, once they really got into the like nitty gritty of what it was, all of the brands decided to pull out.
Wow.
I think what you can do there and for the price now is cost prohibitive. And if you're looking to do something that's more in the B2B vein, which is where I think South by has typically excelled. Like obviously the Westworlds, a lot of the, you know, Paramount did an amazing drone show a couple of years ago. Like I think a lot of that gets the headlines, but there's certainly tons of traditional B2B activations that get a lot of traffic and attention. And I think it is becoming harder and harder to compete with the city of Austin itself. So I will continue to go to South by. I still think it is amazing networking. I think they are getting better and better with the like programming. It's a little bit too robust. I think that was the biggest complaint I heard this year is people just felt like they, you know, at every hour they had 3 or 4 talks they would have liked to have attended, but it was impossible to do so. So I'm sure they'll start to, you know, figure that out. You know, it's kind of a living and breathing thing. They just have to figure out, you know, what works best for them.
Jake, quick question before we transition into your show and tell for your
Yeah.
for how did users access this amazing Netflix AR thing? How did I access, how did I consume it? I'm assuming it was an AR, was it an app? Was it web-based? How did I find out about it?
Oh, not at all. This was so you can kind of see, let me press this.
It's a museum material. It's a projection material that's see through, captures light.
Yeah, so it's somewhat obscured here, but you can I'm kind of tracing it with the mouse. So that's a big frame, and then they have basically
Oh,
a
yeah.
material to create a Pepper's Ghost experience. So yeah, you can just you access this by walking down the street.
So it wasn't AR at all. Really?
It was a form of it, but no app required.
Not mobile AR.
Wasn't yeah, certainly not mobile AR.
Yeah, that's interesting. How much does something like that cost, Jake?
Joey, was that your voice that I heard saying what it was?
No, it's John Fox, but it's
Yeah,
the content plus the hardware,
it's something like this where 600 to 7-figure investment.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus renting that space, to your point, is probably a big part of it too.
I know we're getting lots of questions and they're great, but I want to make sure we're so quickly running out of time. So let's transition if we can, and Ricky will open it up to your questions maybe after Jake gets through his show and tell here, because Ricky's asking some awesome questions. But all right, Jake, take it away. Let's hear more about the work you've done.
Nice to meet you all. So I founded Hustle in 2011. This year will be our 13th anniversary, so hopefully it's a lucky one. We, as I said, are effectively brokers and agents. We maintain an exclusive roster of experienced design agencies that we work with. We help partner them with very famous advertising agencies that you may or may not have heard of. And then we work with, some of the biggest, baddest, and best brands in the world. And ultimately, folks at these places give us a call, tell us kind of what they need, and we make some recommendations, and hopefully it's a love connection that can end up making some cool work. We work with 6 studios now, agencies. So Tool and Media Monks are our longest standing clients. They've been with us the whole time. Then we have, you guys have all met Bowie, or some of you have met Bowie in the past, but they're our new darling child because they're doing some really amazing work. Generally, this is just how we don't cost anything. Every person you ever talk to at an agency has a new business line item built into the yearly budget. So we've effectively just kind of bundled all of that up so we can offer up multiple opportunities. So it makes for a speedier discovery process from a client perspective. We get everything from lucid dreams written on napkins, people asking us how much things cost and how long it would take, to like fully formed briefs where, using South by as an example, or like late summer to fall, people start rolling in with RFPs and allotted budgets and what they're wanting to do, and we're just helping partner them with people that can really bring that to 110%, 150% of what everyone's dream is. And then I was we see about $600 million in opportunities yearly, so it tends to give us a really good understanding of what the market is looking for. So I wanted to kind of take you quickly through sort of 5 verticals that I think people are really leaning into when it comes to the immersive space. So obviously AI has dominated most of our lives for the last 6 or 7 months from at least a curiosity perspective. I think at its core, AI is the delivery of promise of digital marketing, which is personalization at scale. I think the next 3 to 5 years is going to be an evolution of user experience. If any one of us showed up to Bloomingdale's.com or Gap.com and it just asked us how we wanted to dress, we probably would have no idea how to use the website. So the idea of a conversational commerce or conversational UX, as it has been loosely defined thus far, is still in its infancy. So this project done for Adidas during UEFA, which is one of Europe's biggest soccer championships, I think is a sort of first step into that. Effectively, it's a WhatsApp experience created by Media Monks, leveraging the personality of a famous soccer player named Del Piero. For any John McEnroe fans, I think that he was very similar to McEnroe, both as a player and then as a commentator, very fiery, lots of hot takes. So effectively, this chatbot allowed you to have a real-time conversation with Del Piero during the championship game. They created a voice clone so that at star points in the match, he could sort of break that fourth wall, and you know hear him talk about the goal or the corner kick. You know, super sticky. They were doing at the height 44,000 messages every 10 seconds. I think over 100,000 conversations per minute on average through the entire match. You know, we're just talking about a scale that has, from a marketer's perspective, has never been achieved. And you know, really opening up like a real-time conversation with the consumer in a way that you know, just wasn't possible even 18 months ago.
Wow. Love that.
And then AI content, you know, I think this is where we're seeing the market thus far, is really starting to evolve around lower funnel content creation. I think for everyone on the marketing side and on the agency side who needs to make this stuff, there's just too many channels that need to be programmed to. There's too much hand wringing around what everything looks like, because people obviously care about, you know, the work that they're doing, but a lot of what's being made are micro interactions, and you know, really needs to be much more disposable than it is. So I think AI is going to start solving some of that. I think this is another project that would have been completely undoable a number of years ago. I would have gotten this brief and said you would have at least needed a year of development and, you know, easily $1 million to $2 million to do. But the idea of this is to make home buying much easier. So leveraging stability, users were asked to describe what their dream home was. It then was able to search the database of over 20 million homes on realtor.com and find homes that approximated that. So these are some very like clear examples that we can see. So first one on the left is you know, glass house on the beach. We can see that the house that it found for based off of this search is very close. And then obviously you have some more avant-garde stuff that shows, you know, how deep this can actually go. But I think, you know, this stuff is really powerful. But again, is if you do try this experience, I'll share this deck with the group afterwards. But you know, it truly is a dream home. Generally, what you're going to get back is in the, you know, 2 million plus range. So you generally, if you're spending that much, you tend to be able to find some good stuff regardless.
We need this for our digital homes, Jake. Then it would only be like 2,000 Linden or something, $2.
Yeah.
Then I could buy my dream home for $2 on Roblox.
But yeah, I'm excited by, you know, all the possibilities. This project for Burger King by Media Monks, again, I think lives in this world. This exact project has been done by ad agencies before, basically asking you to create your own dream burger, but people were always confined to the amount of assets that would be provided by the digital experience, where this, whatever you wanted to dream up in, as long as it followed sort of online decency rules, would end up in the hamburger. And the winning burger will net the creator $1 million and infinite fame by being on the Burger King menu for the next year.
Wow.
But again, you know, I've every agency and brand that I've been in, I've said whatever the most ambitious idea that you've had over the last 10 years that someone has told you can't be done because of time, money, or feasibility is now back on the table. So you should repitch it and see where you net out. Because again, this is I think this was an 8-week project, about 250K. You know,
Wow.
if I if I'd gotten this 2 years ago, it would have been significantly higher in both time and budget.
Wow. Love it, Jake.
Yeah, I don't, and then web AR experiences, I think it's a medium that it's tough to do first in. I share this project that Bowie did for L'Oreal. So Bowie spoke at South by Southwest about the Apple Vision Pro. They've been in the XR space longer than anyone, at least in its current iteration, having done the very first Oculus experience with Chris Milk and Beck. But this was an experience that I thought was cool, but viewed through the lens of a mobile phone, it's fine. It's fine. It wasn't something that I was like blown away by. But you put it in an Apple Vision Pro, and it's a totally different experience. It was just blew my mind. It's really, really beautiful, and like the exploration of it became a totally different feeling. Like it was one of the things where I was like, I am a bit of a XR realist, and I didn't believe the Vision Pro was going to be a radical step forward, but something as simple as this, seeing how the 3D elements could be brought to life, really, helped me envision what they had in mind when they brought the APV to life.
Yep.
In the interest of time, this one's cool, but I'll skip over it. Then tech forward in real life experiences. So Tool worked with Virtue, which is Vice's agency, and Coca-Cola. Coke's been very forward leaning when it comes to immersive. So Yamei is a digital artist. They were brought to the public for the very first time at Coachella. I was pretty skeptical when I got this brief because there's thousands of amazing real artists at the festival, and yet 10,000 people went through this experience in the 2 weekends, and Yamei did over 600 performances. But a really nice layered immersive experience in terms of you have the passive viewing, even though you're inside of a physical form factor. There's interesting overlays from an AR experience that coincide with the concert itself. And then you saw in this, they leverage Skyview from Eighth Wall's platform to sort of hijack actual human shows with Yummy, being able to loom over the concert stage in a very demonstrative way.
Wow.
And then, so you get a sense of it here.
Yeah, virtual influencers, man. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Then open world gaming, you all are aware of this game, so I won't spend too much time on it. Bowie is actually in charge of the entire Netflix Roblox platform, so you'll see lots of tentpole shows are going to get corresponding games with them. I think we'll discuss this a little bit when we jump into the game itself, but I'll before we do that, I'll just sort of preface they did their very first project on Fortnite, and I think some of the learnings from that are like at its core, you have to do what the community wants out of the game and what they expect. You can subvert that in small ways, but not big ways. So Liquid Death's KPI for this was all PR. So they got close to 50 million PR impressions. They were pumped with it, but the game itself, they went against a bunch of community sort of guidelines and expectations and how they wanted it built, even though I think they were advised on the best way. And the game itself, I think, has underperformed as a result. But you shouldn't. It is still a very fun experience. The creative behind it is quite visually stunning, and the brand itself always even in spite of themselves is able to make something that's fun and entertaining. So thank you. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, awesome, Jake. Thank you so much. We've got a lot of questions. I'm going to let you guys do Q&A as we all start thinking about jumping in to the updated Fidelity experience. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video because that always bogs things down. And then I will start sharing Roblox questions. Kat, do you got any questions? Community manager, what do we got?
There's a lot of talk about web AR and how easy it is to use and accessible for everyone.
Is there
But
There's really one platform in the space that almost everyone uses. It's it's part of the Niantic, which for those that the Pokemon Go experience, which is, I think, still makes billions of dollars each year. But they purchased a company called Eighth Wall, which is sort of the dominant platform. It gets you about, I don't know, 85% of what you would get out of an app-based experience, but allows for, effectively, it's just a website, so anyone can use it. It's the broadest user base out there. I guess the downside of it is you have to pay to use it. So if you're, like I briefly showed that Nike piece or the L'Oreal piece, you're going to pay them a licensing fee to be able to use all of their tools. And then you're going to have to hire a development agency to ultimately build the experience. So I think it's like, trying to think. I think it's in like the 25K a month kind of range. But if you're building something that is evergreen, that can be a little costly.
Yeah, that's always hi, I'm Leo. Sorry to jump in. I've been working with WebAR for a number of years. I was working at a company called Metastage prior to joining Zoic. So yeah, we were doing a lot of holographic activations in WebAR. I mean, yes, it's interesting because there's always that cost benefit analysis, right? Like if you are going to spend 25 grand a month, I mean, you're getting what, 5 million views or something like that. So it's an easy thing to basically turn over to your client and have them be a part of it. So if you're dealing with a big agency or a big brand, it's a little bit of an easier sell, right? Because buying that many impressions is it's pretty cost effective. But to your point, if you are creating something evergreen, there are a number of other ways that you can deploy into AR by building out even simplified apps, but just getting the easy access to get people's initial buy-in and get their eyeballs on it is just so powerful, right? And it's very pervasive and ubiquitous because you can get to it on your web browser.
Sorry. I was just going to concur because we're building a web AR right now, custom for a museum, and we're having to kind of rewire because they just don't have the capital to kind of build it the way that they want to right now, and as universally cross web AR. So we've had to kind of pivot to an iOS focus for the donors to actually let them go raise some more capital because there's a lot. So if you're going to do it for clients, I would highly recommend Eighth Wall.
Yeah.
And what Jake is saying.
Yeah, well, and that's the cool thing about the Niantic aspect as well, because we developed an AR education product at Zoic. It's called Step into Biology. And because of the connections that I had with Eighth Wall over the years, we were able to kind of create a pathway to leverage the Niantic kind of Lightship AR for the kind of persistent cloud anchors. So it enables this kind of multiplayer AR experience for learning about biology, just as the first sort of tranche, right? That's the first product in this overall kind of ecosystem that we're building out. But it's amazing, right? Being able to have that multi-user experience, everyone's seeing that same object in space and they can interact with it. It's just so powerful, and it's really, I think, a really perfect marker right now for where we are. It's taken years to get to this level in terms of the capability of deploying stuff that people can actually enjoy and benefit from. That was one of the things that someone said earlier. What is the what's the real kind of ROI, if you will, for these kind of web AR activations or just AR activations in general, even if they're just basically holographic. And more often than not, the things that I've been hearing over the years is like building in a level of interactivity to those campaigns, and making it very personalized is really, I think, a key driver for engagement. And you know, platforms like Eighth Wall are enabling that even at a base level, right? So it's really about the interactivity that I think is going to create more, you know, more engagement, more impressions, and more interest in the space. So I'm really excited with where we are now, but certainly excited about where we're going finally.
So let's talk a little bit about this experience that I'm in right now, everybody. I think those of you that remember our first foray into the Pancake Tycoon game, that was, as Ricky said, super fun. But Jake, there's some challenges here, and I'd love for you to chat about some of the lessons that we can learn from this latest edition. I mean, one thing that I'll say as a user is a bit frustrating. I think you mentioned this, the lack of commerce. Like I can't just buy this daggone cat thing that I want. I want to just buy the UGC, Jake. So maybe talk to us about why it is that they made these decisions to, you know, to basically really gate. I'm assuming they wanted people to have to play more in order to get the cat backpack, which I really want. I can't just buy Robux, which is, I think, so typical for so many other games. Instead, I've got to actually do this like thing that I'm having a lot of difficulty doing. So talk to us about some of the challenges or some of the maybe lessons learned from this latest variation of Fidelity's build, Jake. I'd love to hear it.
I have a bit of a tag team partner that I see here, Joey Jeter from Bowie, who I believe
Joey Jeter, welcome back to the show, Joey.
actually had a hand in this. Can probably go a little bit deeper than well, in the first Pancake Tycoon experience was built, it was purely a brand awareness, brand education platform, and the guidelines for
Sorry, Cat. There's my friend. Hi, Cat. This is like the fun thing, is be able to do things as a. So, Cat, I'm going to follow you. Go take me somewhere fun. Sorry to interrupt, Jake. I just get excited. There we go. She's so good. Cat's like the super expert. So Joey and Jake, talk to us about KPIs, right? That's one thing that I think people always want to understand as marketers.
You know, go for it, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, you know, conversations that we're having currently. You know, Jake mentioned our you know, our collaborations with Netflix and even with Fidelity itself, and you know, even with Liquid Death, I think a lot of like interactive brand experiences, and especially with Roblox and Fortnite, it's kind of difficult to put those KPIs together. You know, for brands specifically, because it can kind of be all over the place. But you know, one thing that you mentioned as well, that you know, monetizing these games is also difficult for a lot of brands. Obviously, Fidelity monetizing something in Roblox and potentially making you know, making money off of a marketing experience is difficult. You know, and so a lot of that affects the algorithm on Roblox, you know, because they like to take their percentage as well from sales from Robux and from games. So you know, you don't see as much organic engagement if you aren't monetizing. So having those conversations with brands is really important. You know, sometimes there's hurdles you just can't get over. And so if that's the case, you know, you really want to try to make sure that you're driving traffic from off platform. And then I think, you know, we talk a lot about statistics in games, whether that's visits, which is kind of the biggest number on Roblox, you know, seeing something like this game that has, I think, upwards of 15 million visits at this point, which is a pretty wild number. And then getting even deeper into, you know, day-to-day retention or weekly retention, you know, and seeing how those things really build on how successful the experience is itself.
Yes, questions. I'm now so one thing that I know I hate to double click on this, but I'm going to anyway. You know, Fidelity Investments, right? I mean, when you think of Fidelity Investments, you don't think of Roblox. I mean, now I do, but I didn't before. So why, you know, you know, you know, the kid, well, although unless it's an accident where, you know, the kids that Kat was babysitting, you know, charged $200 on her credit card, you know, unbeknownst to her, you know, kids aren't necessarily Fidelity Investments customers, right? So talk to us about that piece, because I think, you know, some of the brand marketers that are on the call, you know, work with brands that maybe aren't necessarily targeting, you know, the 15 to 20-year-olds. And I don't know if Fidelity is either. So talk to us about that.
I'll jump in and Joey can. I mean, they had originally come to me looking for help for someone to help launch on Decentraland as they were going to start dealing in crypto. Bowie ultimately advised them that like they were going to be building in an environment that humans weren't participating at any great scale. And kind of helped them pivot to Roblox. I think I don't think every brand or every type of marketing challenge is going to be able to be solved on this platform, but this is a great example, and I think why Roblox has championed Bowie to other brands and why they roll this out as such a great case study is no, Fidelity is not a natural brand to a platform like this, but there is a way to translate what they do into this space. Like ultimately financial literacy is really important, and there are tons of ways that we already teach kids to do that. So you just need smart integrators and creatives to help put all those mechanisms together. I saw there was one of the dental companies I think activated quite well in Roblox as well. And I thought it was such a silly kind of like mashup of a partnership. But when I kind of read the article, it was, like at the end of the day, like younger kids are going to need to get braces or have some sort of, cosmetic, procedure to their teeth later on. So this was a great way to get in front of them in a non-salesy, unscary way to be the brand that they think of when ultimately their parents are taking them to get their braces or any form of orthodontia. So I think it's just about if you use good strategy and you're smart about how that materializes creatively, it can obviously be a huge success like Fidelity.
Yeah, someone else managed. I want to get the Wham Wham so I can get the cat backpack, and I'm following Catherine here, which is, it's really hard to play Roblox and manage a broadcast. Everybody, yes,
Can I
Nathan,
tag
go.
on there?
Yes, please do.
So Jake, one of the things I was just starting to type this in chat as you were typing in Leslie Shannon and Catherine D. Henry's book, Virtual Natives. They talk about how people in this generation, who in the Roblox generation are really good at making like quick decisions, strategic thinking, MVP planning because of their exposures to game worlds like these in Roblox. So like making them good like technicians, good employees. Additionally, almost every company anywhere is trying to figure out how, right? Because bigger than metaverse, bigger than spatial computing, et cetera, is gaming. Bigger than Hollywood, right? Like everybody's trying to figure out their gaming equation. And Fidelity, knowing how to use games to build connections with people and teach them something is like so crucial, and that they're doing it now instead of in 5 years, right, is a huge leg up as well. So, but everybody's trying to figure out gaming, so it like Fidelity's ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to hop in and say I played this with my niece when we first saw it about a year ago, and she figured out like kind of the trading in of things and the kind of upscaling on things and collecting balls, and she like came out the other side. She was explaining everything to me. She's like a math whiz, so she loved it. It was very effective. She's 10 years old.
Amazing.
That was your demo.
Awesome, Claire. I love that. I love that that input. Yeah, I mean the kids are way better at this than I am. You guys, I want to be the time goes so quickly, everyone. Super awesome, Jake, to have you on. I of course can stay over a little bit. I just want to make sure that I kind of wrap things up here for those that do need to keep it to the tight hour. I want to appreciate everyone for joining today. It was so lovely to have our time together, our monthly time together. It's so precious to me. Thank you so much for those of you that joined from my experiential marketing course, Claire and Kat and many others of you, Sam. Love it that you're here. I hope I see you next month too. I hope I see everyone next month, the third Friday of every month. We're here for an hour at noon. Please let me know if you have topics or suggestions. Priya, hi. For suggestions for next time, very open for that. And we've got a whole month to plan it. So big round of applause for Jake. Jake!
Thank you so much. It was nice meeting everyone. I'm dropping both decks into the chat here, and I'll send them to the crew if anyone wants to get a hold of them that can't grab it here. But thank you for
Yes.
the time. Really loved conversation.
Thank you so much, Jake. It was awesome to have you. And we have to connect in person again soon with
Yep.
Billy. So if you come out this way, you let me know and we'll make it happen.
I will be out there hopefully in April-ish.
Oh, okay. Keep me posted. Are you gonna go? Where are you going? To Portland?
Yeah, probably. Some of the people that make shoes and the folks at Wiley Kennedy, etc.
There's some good agencies out here. Well, that's exciting to hear. Yeah, I'd love to meet up.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do a little networking happy hour-y kind of a thingy in April in Portland. I'd love that.
Perfect.
Okay, well, anybody else that wants to stay on, feel free. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Community time.
Yeah, I just want to say I just found out about this group really yesterday, so I really appreciate having the opportunity to meet all of you, and I'm really excited to keep the conversations going. I think there's really this is the beginning of just excellent opportunities for collaboration, and those of us who can continue to kind of permeate the marketplace with exciting new ideas and links and references. I mean, I just think it's a beautiful thing. So
thanks, Leo. How did you hear about the group? I appreciate you participating today.
Yeah, one of my creative directors at Zoic, his name's Alistair Green. He was, yeah, I see some people nodding. Yeah, he tuned me into it. I've been on the road traveling a lot the last couple of weeks. I came from more of XR, but I'm doing a lot of work in UX and UI at Zoic, so I'm in both kind of military and commercial space. So Zoic's been the first place that I've been able to jump into for a while, where I'm actually able to kind of fire on all cylinders and really kind of tease out a lot of the things that I'm passionate about. Yeah, he tuned me into this, and I was like, all right, I'm in. So you guys have sold me on it. I will be here as much as I can. You know what I mean? I'll reach out and start getting some other folks who I've been working with over the last 10 years to jump in too.
That sounds awesome. And this, I want to again just let everyone know that we do our annual in-person at AWE every year. We had an amazing time at AWE this past year. We had an incredible XR pub crawled dinner, and we had the preview of the show floor, which was so amazing. And I'm working on what the offering is going to be this year very closely with Nathan's team. But just want to make sure that everyone knows that I'd love to see you there in person. And Nathan, what's the hotel situation down there in LA? What are the hotel? I know that Catherine was asking me about hotel information. Where's everyone staying?
Where's everybody staying? So the website has links to a couple of the partner hotels for sure. Our PR team was looking at staying at the nearby Queen Mary.
Oh my gosh.
A sister ship to the Titanic.
Wow.
So there's the cool news is that compared to Santa Clara in Silicon Valley office parks, Long Beach is a destination of sorts. So there's quite a number of hotels nearby. I think there's a Hyatt that's basically attached to the convention center with a breezeway.
$400 a night.
There's
kind
a
of a
Westin across the street.
I can't afford it. $400 a night.
I'm sorry. We can
I'm
I'm
poor.
only telling you the ones that I know that are official, but Long Beach
Yes,
is
I'll be
like
staying
a
at the least
livable
expensive
city.
option, everybody, whatever it is. It'll be what are the Citizen M for, whatever, 150 a night.
There could be decent Airbnbs as well. It is like a community. So
Has anybody booked their hotel already? Hotel, I see. Hotel Maya. Thank you, Christian, for sharing that. Hotel Maya is a suggestion. Awesome.
And Lisa, if you're flying from Oregon/Portland, consider flying into LAX. What I've heard is that especially from Portland to Long Beach, there's always a layover, and but the
LA, baby. I'm flying into LAX.
the taxi from LAX or the Uber from LAX is reasonable.
Yeah, that's the way I'll be. That's what I'll be doing, without a doubt.
I do. I would love to tell you all, as we are talking with a couple groups. There's potentially an after party on Friday the 21st at the 2-Bit Circus arcade. That's likely a partnership with the Creator Campus, which is sort of the next iteration of the AR House, so a place for AR creatives to go and work. 2-Bit Circus is a XR arcade, and Rodney Mullen, the pro skater, and his Skatrix app are going to be collaborating on like an after party skate day food truck extravaganza. That if you're able to be around on Friday afternoon, could be a very cool experience as well.
I love it. I might have to try and figure out how to stay down there for the weekend. Love it. Any other, so yes, meet me in LA, everybody, in June. That's the big takeaway. Any other questions, comments that people want to toss in, please? It's so good to meet. I know that I see some new faces. Love the new people to introduce themselves. Lindsay.
Hi, yeah, I just found out about this a couple days ago. I was just like going down the rabbit hole on LinkedIn and came across your profile and then found this and I was like, oh, I have to join. These are my people.
Yay, Lindsay, I'm so glad you found us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I'm wrapping up about a 2-year stint as co-founder of a Web3 mobile application company. We've luckily found someone to sort of take over, and I'm looking for my next adventure. My previous experience was I was head of creative technology at a small brand experience agency called Kramer, based out of Boston, and a lot of other stuff over the years. And so I'm hoping to get back into this world now.
I love it. Well, welcome in. Hopefully this is a very approachable and supportive and welcoming community, Lindsay. So I'm always open to questions or comments around what we do during our hour every month. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm so grateful you're here. Any other new people? I think we're setting a new tradition. New people get to introduce themselves at the end of the end of the thing. Why not? I love it. It's a great one. Who else is new or hasn't had a chance to talk about themselves? I'd love to hear. Anyone? Everyone's being shy now.
Well, if no one new is going to jump in, I just want to throw out there, Lisa, you are killing it. This community is getting bigger and you're still making it feel so welcoming and wholesome and fun, and being able to see all these new faces like come in and just feel like comfortable sharing and being a part of it right away.
Oh, thanks.
Like that comes from you and Billy and hosting and putting these things on, and like just need to give you some kudos for that. It's really great work.
Oh, thank you so much, Ricky. I appreciate that. I love doing it. I was just thinking today as I was walking the dog that I know this is cliche, but I am a connector. I'm like, I love connecting and bringing people together. Ever since I was a little girl, I loved, hosting parties and such. I don't know. I think it's because I've been an outsider for a lot of my life, and I really want people to come together and feel part of something. It's a huge part of who I am. So thank you. And Ricky, are you going to be at AWE?
I should be. Yeah.
Please. That was one of my key highlights, was meeting you in person for the first time at AWE. That was such a good moment.
It was the best. I was like in the conversation and you just were like, Ricky, and I turned to my left. I'm like, oh my God, that's Lisa Payton. This is amazing.
It was good. It was so good. We had so much fun down there. So I can't wait to see everybody again. Thank
For
you.
anyone who hasn't gone to AWE, by the way, that was my first time last year, and it feels like a massive family reunion where you're
It
just
is 10 years. I have people I've
Well-
met there for 10, I have 10-year relationships, Ricky, and I go just to see these people. You're so right.
It's amazing, and for how big of an event it is, it feels very intimate. And
Yeah.
like there's so many people I've only met as an avatar or as a 2D talking head in a box on a Zoom call, and you just finally get to connect those dots in person. So also shout out to Nathan's team and all the people over at AWE doing this great work. And end the call with some kudos.
Victor's asking, when is our next face-to-face in Portland? Well, if Jake's going to be in, I want a good excuse to be in Portland in April. So Jake, maybe if you're going to be in Portland in April, you give me the dates and maybe we can do an in-person pub crawl networking thing in Portland in April. I'd love that. So that's the answer. Stay tuned for that. Anyone else want to share? This is so fun.
I just want to tell, especially Nathan, that I do love WebAR. We started in Houdini. And so we had to
WebAR.
translate Houdini into WebAR. And we did it, by the way. But yeah, as you might imagine, really high-end entertainment tools trying to optimize. Yeah, so.
Your mileage may vary.
One of I get pitched on, hey, we should do this kind of AR app or VR app all the time. And as an event team, we got together and sat down and said, okay, who is our audience? Who is at the events? How can we ensure the best results from any of these apps? And what we found was that even though we're in the XR space, like more than 60% of our audience uses Android phones.
Oh no, it's because they're all developers.
Right. And
you and your
so,
unlocked Android phones, you can go home.
oh, being the marketer whose phone doesn't work on the AR app is like the best thing in the world because you actually have like proof on why user experience might be lacking. But because of that, right, like our goal is to get XR experiences that we bring to the event in front of as many people as possible, right? Like those numbers are really big because we're trying to show you something that we think is important to you. And if we do it with only, you know, the latest iOS or just the latest, you know, one kind of headset, we miss such a huge potential that, like, even for folks who we're trying to promote and put a spotlight on, it's like, well, there were, you know, 7,000 people at the event. 500 of them have your kind of iPhone, and 20% of those saw the ad, you know, 2% clicked. Now we did a lot of work for a really cool thing and maybe only a couple dozen people saw it. And so my bias is not around the tech at all, but around how can I actually promote an idea in a way that people can see and access and that gives the producers the kind of credit and spotlight that they're hoping for. So it's yeah, it's tough. Sorry. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no.
Mini use case. But like, I love what a big experience can do, but I would rather show it to as many people. So.
Well, I think it's time to wrap it up, everybody. So I will be posting the on-demand version of this on LinkedIn, so stay tuned for that. And Jake, here's to April in Portland, and everybody who's in the Portland area. I know many of you are not based here, but we have LA in June if you're not in Portland. So thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next month. Thanks, everyone, again for being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great weekend.
Too.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks. Bye. Yay, let me stop the recording.